Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Let's Build the Ultimate Theme Park. My name is Tyler Cedarwall, and we are looking at the completed pier that we finished last episode. It's looking very quaint, perfect place to take a date, walk to the end of the pier, watch the sunset, fall in love, have children on the pier, start a family on the pier, and just live your best life on this pier. But we built a restaurant at the very end, and it's looking a lot more cleaned up, sleek. We also built an arcade, and today we are going to be working on the entrance of the park some more because we have a lot of work to do there. So currently we have a checklist of things that we want to finish in this park. We have finished the arcade and the pier, so we can cross those off the list. In the last episode, I had you guys tell me in the comments what we should work on next. And the thing that got first place was to work on the Zelda coaster, which that is now going to be happening next episode. And then second place was the entrance of the park. I decided to work on the entrance first just because I wanted to put up one more episode of Let's Build the Ultimate Theme Park before the Zelda coaster again. And so that's why I chose the entrance, even though it got second place. So the first thing you might have noticed that I did was I moved the building that was originally going to lead into the water park to the backside of one of the gift shops. The reason I did that is because I decided that I'm not going to be putting a water park in this park because I do not think they're ever going to release a water park DLC for this game, and I do not want to have to build a fake water park out of just shapes. I don't want to build a water park unless it's functional, and I decided that there's already so many things in this park that are functional rides and stuff that I can add that I would rather just focus on the things this game has that actually work. So we're not going to have a water park, unfortunately, in this park, but I'm still going to use the space for other things. So I moved that building to the backside of this gift shop because it's going to be leading into the more jungle side of the park, and that building has more of just a jungle adventure vibe in general. And that jungle adventure vibe is going to have like I'm going to put like a volcano. We're going to have a roller coaster that goes down an active volcano or something along the lines of that. I'm going to try my best to make a coaster like that because I think it'd be really, really cool. We're going to have a jungle raft ride where you go through like a safari pretty much, but you're on one of those river raft rides that gets you really, really wet. I'm probably going to put a coaster that's sort of like a lost Japanese temple, and this is probably going to be a really gigantic inverted coaster, something really intense, because I want to have like one big steel coaster close to the parking lot, so there's a big coaster in the foreground when you look at the park, because right now you can't see too many of the coasters from the entrance, so I needed to have some coasterage from the entrance of the park. I have a really cool idea planned inside my brain. I have all these ideas inside my head, and it's so cool to put them onto this like blank canvas. I'm having such a fun time working on this park. And then I have plans for the other side as well, which we have talked about a little bit. I'm not going to talk about those too much more right now because I need to talk about what we're building today. So my first focus was to just build some of the outer frames of all the buildings in the entrance, just so we could see what shapes everything were and just see how everything fit together. So I'm going to build the shell of all the buildings first, and then once we do that, I'm going to go back and add all the details, all the little lamps and windows and stuff. I added a little bit on this episode, but we're going to go back later and like really flesh everything out and make sure it's really clean looking. But first I just wanted to build the shape of all the buildings so we knew how everything fit together. I also just love building at this time of day because the sun looks so beautiful in the background. Just the golden hour and everything looks so photogenic. And it's also bright enough to where you can see stuff, but it's dark enough to where all the lamps are turned on, so the lighting looks really cool. It's perfect. So now I'm doing something that I kind of wish I did a long time ago. I'm putting paths that lead to the back doors of all these buildings. Because in real life, there would be paths that you can walk on to get to the back entrances if you're an employee or a janitor or somebody who works at the park. So I'm actually having paths that lead back there now. And we're going to have a path that leads to a staff building that's behind all of the regular buildings as well. And none of the guests will probably walk on it because they don't actually lead anywhere. But we'll try to put some things that lead the staff to walk back there so it seems like a bit more realistic. And then in the future, we can add some stuff like garbage cans, dumpsters, like little odds and ends things, boxes, crates, things that you would normally find behind buildings and businesses like that, because these gift shops and restaurants got to bring in some of their food and merchandise and things that they sell. Now, the next thing that we're doing is I am putting a forest in between the IMAX theater and the very first coaster we built, the Manhattan Project. I'm putting like a small forest and I'm kind of treating it like some negative space. We're not going to have any rides or anything in this forest, but we're just going to have a path that walks through the woods. This is going to be an alternate way to get to the other section of the park we're going to build. And I just thought having a small little forest towards the front of the park would look really, really nice, honestly. And I think it does. I think it really kind of breaks things up, separates it a little bit. And it's kind of cool just to have a nice little forest trail next to the park. It's kind of like the park Silver Dollar City that I went to a lot growing up back in Missouri. And then walking through the forest, I put these paths that don't actually have any ground. They're just things that allow the guests to walk on the natural terrain. And I used the paintbrush to just make it sort of more of like a dusty dirt path, which might not be the best idea because it might make guests' shoes dirty. But at the same time, I've been to tons of walking trails that have more of a natural path. My shoes don't really get dirty, so I guess it still works. As long as there's just no like mud pits or anything, which we'll have our maintenance guys make sure to keep it all clean and nice. Next, I added a blueprint for a building that I really liked. It's just a small little French style building, and I put the restaurant inside because one of the updates recently, they added restaurants to the game. So I added little restaurant pods inside, and pretty much guests can go inside this building and it's like they're eating at a restaurant. They can get a lot of food and happiness from going here. The next building I worked on was the building that goes over the main entrance gate for the park. For this building, I wanted to do something a little bit more simplistic and modern looking. I wanted it to be more sleek, but still really stand out and look really just cool. It's a really cool entrance to the park. So I decided to go with like a wavy style of architecture because it just seemed like it really flowed. Also, I decided to move the diner over to the side a little bit more. Pretty much all the buildings, they were originally circling around this entrance, but I ended up deciding to square everything up a little bit and make sure it was a bit more structured, which I think was much better in the long run. I think everything looks way more realistic, way more clean. Now this entrance building needed to be a bit longer, and I decided to go with this wavy theme to it because I thought it would really catch the eye. It would be a very interesting entrance to the park, and I just wanted to build a building with a really unique shape, and this building definitely has that, so I'm happy with that. So I can't wait to work on the parking lot. I have a lot of different parking lot pieces, and then there's a lot of car models added to the game. So whenever we do the parking lot, pretty much here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna put like a cool entrance that has some flags. I'm not gonna copy Six Flags, but kind of draw inspiration from that. We'll have the parking lot itself with the lines and the parking spaces, and then there's lots of car models so we can add cars sitting in the parking lot so it seems like people are actually driving to the park. And then I want to build a train station that looks like a form of public transportation, and that's where the guests are going to be coming out, because right now they're just coming out of some random hole on the back side of the cliff on the other side of the parking lot. So what I'm going to do is put a train station there, so it seems like people are arriving to the park in a train and then coming out of the train station. So it makes more sense. It kind of brings it all together. So last episode, we kind of talked about what we would want to be added to Planet Coaster if they were to make a Planet Coaster 2. And here's some of the answers that you guys said, and here's some of the ideas I have for if they made a sequel of the game. So one of the biggest things people say is that they should upgrade the path system a bit more. The path system in this game is pretty good, but it can be a little bit weird sometimes as well. So I do agree that some more options for the path system would be great. I think they should make it so you can have every single type of terrain, every terrain texture, because right now you can only have, I think, 8 to 10 different types of terrain in your park to paint the ground with. So having all the options for that would be fantastic, and even just some more terrain tools in general. Maybe the option to adjust your terrain on a proper grid like you do in the original Roller Coaster Tycoon. It's pretty like generic, but it's a good way to get a good overall shape at a meticulous level to where the paths can coincide and be built on it very easily. I think a lot of the building styles need to be a bit more fleshed out, because a lot of the architecture styles in this game have a variety of pieces, but none of them are fully fleshed out. Like a lot of them are missing like a certain roof piece that goes at a certain angle that would be very nice to have, or a certain type of window or a door. And it's just like, I feel like that could be fleshed out, more building pieces, because I feel like those are some of the easiest types of scenery pieces to make, but it also seems to be slacking in a lot of ways as well. I think they should add a lot of the smaller things you find at theme parks, like I said, like the mini games, like the ring toss, the water gun shooters, just like all those little tiny games that you see at theme parks that just try to swindle your money, that give you prizes and stuff. The option to build more of those and actual arcade machines, like lots of more filler pieces. Also, hold up. I found a piece that I forgot to show you guys at the beginning of the video, but I have to show you now. Somebody added a toucan model. It's a little toucan animatronic. It can have the toucan takeover. I actually think I might make like a toucan forest or a toucan specific ride in the jungle. I think that would be really, really cool. Definitely gonna do it. I've already decided we're going to have a toucan ride in this park because it's on brand. Also, another side note is I don't think I've ever asked this in this series, but if you guys are watching through or binge watching it or anything and you haven't pressed the subscribe button yet, you should totally subscribe to my channel on YouTube, Attacking Toucans. I do a lot of fun gaming videos, and I'm always trying to push the boundaries on what I'm doing. I'm always trying to think of cool, exciting series, and I would really appreciate if you subscribe to my channel and gave me that support. Anyways, back on to things I think they should add a Planet Coaster too. I also thought it'd be really cool if they added a parade feature, and the way that would work is you would have a starting building for your parade, and then you chose, like you drew a line on one of the paths, like you selected one of your paths in your park for the parade to go down, and then you have a building for the end of the parade where all the floats go back in. And like maybe the only requirement for the parade is that the path that is built on has to be a certain width so that the parade flows can go down it, and then the guests have enough space to stand on the sides of the path. I could definitely see that being done. It doesn't seem very unrealistic because so many theme parks have parades. Almost every theme park I've been to has parades. So I think that would be a great addition. Along with water parks, like that would be just a great feature. Because pools, water parks, that stuff just all goes hand in hand with theme parks. Because even like hotels, building vacation resorts, they all have pools and hot tubs and stuff. I've heard Planet Coaster has a lot of problems in the campaign mode. I don't know much about the campaign. I haven't played it too much myself, but apparently they could do a lot of improvements on that. I'm about to start doing streams of the campaign mode soon, so we're gonna start finding out whether the campaign mode is good in this game or if sandbox mode is the only legitimate way to play Planet Coaster. Now, as I've started building, as you can see, I started building another arcade. We built an arcade last episode and had that towards the back of the park, but that was like a smaller, like older looking arcade. For this arcade, I wanted to make a larger, sleek, professional looking arcade that has a lot more machines and also has a pizza restaurant inside. Sort of like an Incredible Pizza, Chuck E. Cheese, except we don't recycle our pizza. We make everything fresh to order, even though it's all frozen pizzas that we just bring in, but shh, don't tell anybody. And yes, even though it's frozen pizzas, we still charge twice as much for them because you're buying them in a theme park, and that's how it works around here. I kind of love building arcades in this game though. They're so nice looking, and the scaling is just perfect for all of these machines. It looks like the guests could actually come up to them and play with them. Because there was some arcade machines and stuff along those lines built with the little shape pieces and such, and they were just blueprints, but they didn't look nearly as nice as custom models made in a 3D modeling program. Not at all. And speaking of arcades, I'm gonna make that the comic question of the day, is what is your favorite games or things to do in an arcade? I would say for me personally, I like pinball machines a lot. I just love seeing the creativity that people put into them. But growing up, I also really loved this shooting game called Area 51, where you went through and shot these weird alien zombie things. I'm not even sure what they were, but I really enjoyed the game. I was never a huge fan of games that won you tickets. In the same way as, like, I don't like gambling as an adult. Like, whenever I go to a casino, I don't like those types of games where you're trying to win money. They're not fun for me. And I was the same as a kid. Like, I never liked the games where you try to win tickets. They just always seemed like a ripoff. They weren't real games. And the amount of money you spend on the coins to get the tickets in the first place could buy you the prizes that you win like tenfold. So it always just seemed like a big scam to me. I was never a big fan of those whatsoever. Some of them could be fun, sort of. But overall, I don't know. I think skee ball can be fun sometimes, but other times it can be really frustrating and annoying. Air hockey is really, really fun, but growing up we had an air hockey table in our basement, and so I kind of got air hockeyed out in a way. But that's still a more fun game because it's more skill based, along with like foosball. Foosball can be really fun as well, but at the same time, like once you've played foosball a certain amount, it kind of loses its charm. Racing games can be pretty fun in arcades as well. Oh, my all-time favorite thing to do in an arcade, I don't even know how I forgot about this, is rhythm games, like Dance Dance Revolution. And whenever I went to SGDQ and AGDQ, Games Done Quick, they had a rhythm game room where they had a lot of different rhythm machines, and I got to play a lot of rhythm games that I never even knew existed. But there's some really cool rhythm games out there. I feel like Americans are sort of sleeping on the rhythm game industry. Well, I guess for a while, America was really into things like Rock Band and Guitar Hero. It's kind of weird how those games sort of dropped off the face of the earth. But I hope DDR has a big comeback, a big resurgence. I guess things like Beat Saber for virtual reality are kind of the future of where rhythm games are going. This virtual reality is a big thing in general, which if they add virtual reality compatibility to Planet Coaster, that would be the best thing in the world. It's like being able to walk around your park and ride the rides in virtual reality would be so much fun. I also remember this other game at the arcade that I really enjoyed for a while whenever they had it, where you were a roller luger. The sport luge where you're like on those boards. There's either ice luge or roller luge. They have the ice version at the Olympics, I'm pretty sure, where you go down the big like ice path that's sort of like sledding. It's really weird to describe what it is, but they had this game where you laid on this roller luge board and you would lean back and forth like you were actually going down one of these hills. And I remember there just being lots of shortcuts and cool tricks and things you could do. I had a lot of fun with those sort of games. But yeah, let me know in the comments what were some of your favorite arcade games growing up, or some of your favorites now, or how has it changed? Let's have a discussion about arcade games. Another thing that's fun related to arcades is going to Dave & Buster's, and Dave & Buster's can be fun because they serve alcohol. Let me tell you, arcade games are way more fun when you're a little bit tipsy. It kind of makes you a little bit more like a kid again, and it makes you enjoy the simple things. Last year I went to a Dave & Buster's with my friends, and I was playing that one arcade game where the light goes around the table and you press the stop button to get the jackpot. I won that like 3 times and got like 900 tickets from it. It was an insane amount of tickets. And I went to the ticket area where you can buy prizes, and I bought a ton of these stuffed sloths that have these Velcro on their hands so they can wrap around your neck and like hold on to you. And I gave them to all my friends I went with. There was like 15 of us, and I started the sloth squad on the spot. So if any of you guys ever get one of those little Velcro sloth plushies, you can also be a part of the sloth squad. It's a pretty elite group, if I do say so myself. So many good memories of arcades growing up. I especially loved the days when there would just be a ton of kids at the arcade. Those would be the best, and just everybody was on a machine, and there was always just so much going on, and kids buying stuff at the ticket stands. So the next building we're placing down is a staff building, which I mentioned earlier. This is just the building for the staff to go to rest, and there's an actual staff building inside. Like, that's an actual thing the workers have to do now, or else they get really annoyed. Lots of the vendors, that's really weird. The vendors who sell food and stuff at their shops, they have to rest as well. So every once in a while, they'll just like hop over the counter and walk to the nearest staff building to rest up. It's kind of weird. I'm not sure how we feel about that, but that is a thing that happens now. In some ways, it seems like they've added a bit too much micromanagement. It's like, I just want to build theme parks, man. Like, come on. But I don't know. I guess they're just trying to add more strategy to the game, which we'll see how that is. Like, I don't care about it too much because I'm just playing sandbox and it doesn't matter. But whenever I start playing the campaign mode, I'm interested to see if I like that mechanic. And now I'm just placing a lot of decorations, bushes, flowers, you know, the stuff that really kind of pulls everything together. I kind of want to add more curbs to the paths, or maybe I should just turn the path curbs on. I'm not sure. I need to decide on that. But I think this entrance area is really coming together. So we have an arcade, like this whole entire entrance. What we have so far is we have an arcade, an IMAX, a restaurant, an information stand, a few gift shops, a small food court, a bathroom, and we have a staff room, we have a diner, we have the park entrance. I think we should probably build a first aid stand, maybe? Oh, I need to put lockers in one of the gift shops, like a place for you to put your bags and stuff, because sometimes you want to go ride on rides that you might get wet on, or a roller coaster, and you don't want to carry all your stuff with you, so some rentable lockers. I even downloaded a model for that from the Theme Maker's Toolkit, so I'll definitely put that in the future. Also, this is unrelated to Planet Coaster completely, but after this, I'm going to go see an early screening of the new How to Train Your Dragon movie. And I am so excited because How to Train Your Dragon is one of my favorite animated movie series ever. Just the animation's so good, the story writing's amazing, I love the characters, the concepts. Toothless the dragon is the cutest freaking thing in the whole entire world, and I'm just pumped. Can't wait to see it. Let me know in the comments, what's the best movie that you've seen recently? I like getting some movie suggestions because watching movies can be pretty fun. Alright, so before this episode ends, I'm just going to put some decorations. We have a majority of the buildings done. I think I might add like 1 or 2 smaller buildings to this entrance, but I think for the most part we have the basic block structure of what we want for everything. So now moving forward with this entrance, we just got to start decorating these buildings and start putting in all those details. The IMAX, we got a lot to do on the IMAX. Right now the IMAX is just like this big white box right now. It's a little bit bland, so we're definitely going to spicing that up. I'm not going to leave it so simplistic. I was just marking all the space. Building the main structure for a lot of these buildings takes up just as much time as putting in the details. The next Planet Coaster video you can expect is going to be another Let's Build a Zelda Coaster, because we need to get more done on that Zelda Coaster. We're going to be working on the boss room. We're going to be doing like a timed out boss fight. I'm going to really try my best to make it really cool because I want it to be very impressive. Like, I want people to talk about it. That's the main goal. And I'll probably work on the station room as well, which I think I'm going to add some spirit tracks elements because I've been getting lots of requests to add spirit tracks related things to that coaster. So I got to kind of brush up on my spirit tracks knowledge because it's been a while since I've played that game. But I'm pretty pumped. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching this episode. I'm happy with what we got done. The entrance is starting to look a lot better. It doesn't look as bare bones anymore, which is one of the main reasons I wanted to work on this and get some more work on it done, because I wanted the front of the park to look really nice. We'll come back and work on this more in the future, but for now we are done. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. It really helps me out and I appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.